Lena sat alone in the quiet library of NASA's old research building. The room smelled like dust and old paper. Yellow light from a small lamp fell on the table, where a tall stack of boxers waited for her. She was a new intern, only 22 years old, and this was her first real job. It was not a very exciting task. Her job was simple. Look through all the old files, and mark which ones should be scanned into the new digital system. Most files were boring. Old reports about small tests, engine parts, fuel numbers. She turned page after page and tried not to yawn. This is going to be a long summer, she whispered to herself. She opened another brown folder. On the cover, there was no title, no date, nothing. Just a number written in black pen. XM7 Strange, Lena said. Usually there was a clear label on the front. She opened it inside. The first page made her sit up straight. At the top it said, NASA Special Mission Report, Project Silent DAW. Her heart beat a little faster. She had never heard that name before. She had grown up loving space, watching all the famous NASA missions. Apollo, Voyager, Curiosity, Artemis, but Silent Dawn. Never below the title, something even more strange was written in red ink. Classified, do not copy all references to this project to be removed from public record. Lena's eyes widened. Removed from public records, she said slowly. Did they try to erase this? She felt a shiver run down her spine. Suddenly the quiet room did not feel safe anymore. It felt like a place where secrets were buried. She looked around. The library was empty. Only the old clock on the wall was ticking. Tick, tick, tick. Lena took a deep breath and began to read. Project Silent Dawn was described as a test mission that took place in the late 1980s. According to the file, it was a small crewed mission with only 3 astronauts. The goal was simple on paper. Test new communication equipment in low Earth orbit. But as she continued reading, she saw things that did not make sense. There were notes about unexpected signals and unknown interference. There were reports in which the astronauts mentioned voices on the line and unusual objects moving near their spacecraft. One page was half burned. Only a few words could still be read. Not a star. Moving against the field. We are not alone up here. Lena's hands felt cold. She turned to the last part of the report, searching for the conclusion, but the pages stopped suddenly. There was no final report, no description of how the mission ended, no record of what happened to the 3 astronauts. Instead, there was only a short note, typed in a hurry, by order of the director. All documents related to Project Silent Dawn are to be sealed. Public mention of this mission is strictly forbidden. Reason, national security. Underneath, someone had written in pen, almost angrily, this should never have been done. Lena sat back in her chair, staring at the page. She knew one thing for sure. If this was true, there had once been a NASA mission that almost nobody knew about. A mission that someone, long ago, had tried very hard to erase. Her head was full of questions. Why was this mission hidden? What happened to the astronauts? What did they see out there? Lena pulled the folder closer. On the last page there was a list of names. Commander Michael Hayes, Sophia Karim, pilot Daniel Kolshay. Quickly opened her laptop and searched the NASA database. She typed Michael Hayes astronaut, then Sophia Karim, then Daniel Cole. Nothing. No records, no photos, no missions. It was as if they never existed. Lena felt a mix of fear and excitement. She knew this was not just a boring old file. This was a secret, an important one. She picked up her phone and thought about who she could tell. Her supervisor, Dr. Taylor, was kind but very strict about rules. If Lena showed her this, maybe the file would be taken away and locked again. No, Lena whispered. Not yet. She put the file in her bag. Her hands shook a little as she did it. She knew it was wrong to take it, but she could not stop herself. She needed to know more. As she left the empty library, the clock on the wall kept ticking. Tick, tick, tick. Outside, the sun was bright and the sky was blue. People walked around the campus, laughing, talking, drinking coffee. Everything looked normal, but to Lena, nothing felt normal anymore. Somewhere in the past, NASA had hidden a mission. And now she had found the first piece of it. That night in her small apartment, Lena spread the pages of the report on her bed. She read every line, every little note in the margin. In one corner of a page, she saw a faint pencil mark. It looked like part of an address. Room 47, Building E. Building E, she said. She knew that building. It was an old half-empty place on the far side of the NASA campus. Most people did not go there, maybe, she thought. More answers were waiting in that room. She looked at the clock. It was almost midnight. I'll go tomorrow, she decided. But as she turned off the light and lay down, sleep did not come easily. Her mind was full of images of a small spacecraft, floating in the darkness of space. 3 astronauts calling for help, unknown signals whispering in their ears. And somewhere, deep inside NASA, someone saying, erase it. Erase everything. The next morning, Lena arrived early at the NASA campus. The sun was still low, and the air was cool. She walked quickly, her bag heavy with the old file of Project Silent Dawn. Building E stood far from the main offices, near a line of tall trees. It was made of gray concrete, with narrow windows and a faded sign over the door. The place looked tired, almost forgotten. Lena swiped her badge at the entrance. To her surprise, the door beeped and opened. "Okay," she whispered. "So far, so good." Inside, the halls were quiet. Dust floated in the light from the windows. Some of the rooms had old labels on them: archive, telemetry, audio lab. Most doors were half, showing stacks of equipment and boxers. She checked the room numbers as she walked. Her heart beat faster when she reached room 407. The door was closed. She tried the handle. It did not move. Locked. Lena bit her lip. She knew she should probably stop and go back, but instead she looked around and noticed that the door frame was old and a little bent. She pushed harder. The door gave a small crack and then opened. She stepped inside. The room was small and dark, filled with metal shelves. Dust lay on everything. Old monitors, machine parts, and boxers were stacked up to the ceiling. On the far side of the room, against the wall, there was a table with something that looked like a large tape player or recorder. Lena turned on the light. A weak yellow bulb flickered to life. She walked to the table. The machine was labeled Mission Audio Archive 198-01990. Her heart jumped. If Project Silent Dawn had taken place in that time, there might be recordings here. She opened the drawers under the table. Inside were rows of old tape reels, each in a plastic case. Tiny labels with dates and mission names were stuck on them. She read, then her eyes stopped on something that made her breath catch. One of the tapes? No mission name, only the letters. Her hands shook as she icked it up. "This has to be it," she whispered. The tape player looked old, but it was still plugged in. She carefully placed the reel on the player, fed the tape through the path, and pressed the play button. For a moment there was only static. A sharp beep, then a low voice. "Control, this is Silent Dawn. Radio, check." Lena almost dropped the tape. It was real. This was the mission. A calm voice answered. "Copy that, Silent Dawn. We read you loud and clear. How's the view up there?" A second voice, a woman's voice, replied with a small laugh. "Beautiful. I never get tired of this." Lena recognized the names from the report. Commander Michael Hayes, Dr. Sophia Karim, Pilot Daniel Cole. She could hear them. They were alive in this tape, up there in the sky, while she sat alone in a forgotten room. The recording continued. At first it sounded like a normal mission. The astronauts talked about numbers, checks, angles, and speeds. They joked with the people on the ground. They described the curve of the Earth below them. Then things began to change. "Control? This is Hayes. We're getting some interference on the NUCOM system," the commander said. His voice was still calm, but there was a small edge to it. "Silent Dawn. Please repeat," Mission Control replied. "We're hearing something extra," Dr. Karim said. "It's like another signal layered over yours. Faint, but there." The tape crackled. There was a hiss of noise, then the sound of many radio signals at once. Like tiny voices whispering over each other, Lena leaned closer to the speaker. Static, then a strange, rhythmic clicking sound. "That's not us," Mission Control said. "We're not sending that. It sounds almost like speech," Daniel Cole said slowly. Minutes passed. The team on the ground tried different settings. The astronauts turned knobs, changed frequencies, moved to the antenna, but the strange signal did not go away. Sometimes it grew louder, sometimes softer, but it stayed then. Something even more strange happened. "Control, we are seeing an object," Hayes said. The room went so quiet that Lena could hear her own breathing. "Please repeat." "Silent Dawn," Mission Control said. "A light," Dr. Karim said. "It's below our orbit, moving across the dark side. It's not a star. It's moving sideways, against the star field." "Could it be space debris?" Control asked. "No," Hayes said, more firmly now. "It's under power. It just changed direction. It's tracking us." A strange clicking sound grew louder on the tape. Under it, there were faint tones, almost like music, but broken and twisted. Lena's skin prickled. "We're getting the same signal, Control," Dr. Karim said. "The source seems to match the object's location." For a few minutes, the tape was full of numbers, angles, distances, coordinates. The pilots described where the object was and how it moved. Mission Control sounded more and more worried. "If this is some kind of test, you need to tell us," Daniel Cole said. "Is there another vehicle up here with us?" "Negative, Silent Dawn," Control said. "You are the only active craft in that orbit." Silence. Then Hayes spoke again, very slowly. "Then who built that?" The clicking sound changed again. It became a series of clear beeps, in patterns, short, long, short, long, almost like a code. "It's trying to talk," Dr. Karim whispered. And then, suddenly, she cried out, "Oh my God." The sound broke into loud static. The tape squealed. For several seconds, there was nothing but noise. Then, slowly, the sound became clear again. Hayes was shouting now, something Lena had not heard in his voice before. "Repeat, we have had a close pass." The object made a near approach, less than 100 meters. It moved faster than anything I've ever seen. It's static again. Then Daniel Cole's voice, lower. "It changed shape?" "I know how that sounds, but it did. One moment it looked like a sphere, then it stretched into something like a line of light, then it was gone." Mission Control was no longer calm. "We are losing your signal, Silent Dawn." Can you confirm all systems nominal? There was a long pause. Only the clicking sound and the faint hum of the spacecraft could be heard. Then Dr. Karim spoke in a slow, fearful voice. Control. I don't think it's gone. Another pause. It's above us now? The tape suddenly stopped. Lena stared at the machine. The tape reel had reached the end and spun in small jerks. That can't be it, she whispered. There must be more. She checked the reel. On the inside label, someone had written a short note in black pen. Final section removed, per director's order. Lena swallowed. Her mouth was dry. The most important part of the recording, the end, where they might have said what happened, was missing. Cut away. Erased. She sat down slowly on a dusty chair. Her mind was full of the voices she had just heard. 3 astronauts, far above the Earth, watching an unknown object move around them. A strange signal that sounded like a code. A mission that NASA had tried to hide. Someone had wanted all of this to disappear, but it had not disappeared completely. A tape remained, a file remained. And now Lena knew. She looked at the tape again and noticed something she had missed before. In the corner of the label, in very small letters, someone had written, "Ask TK." He kept a copy. "TK," she said. "Who is that?" She thought for a moment. Then she remembered her supervisor's full name, Dr. Thomas K. Taylor. Her heart started to pound. Was it a coincidence? Or had her supervisor once worked on this mission? If he had a copy of the final section, maybe he knew what really happened to Silent Dawn. Lena stood up, turned off the tape player, and left the room, her mind racing. She had more questions now than ever before, and she knew the only person who might have the answers. Lena spent the rest of the morning pretending to do her normal work. She sat at her desk, clicked on a few files, and typed short notes into the computer system. But her thoughts were far away, up in orbit with Silent Dawn. Across the office, Dr. Thomas K. Taylor sat in his glass-walled office, reading something on his screen. His hair was gray, and he wore simple glasses. He had been at NASA for many years. People respected him. They also said he kept to himself and did not like to talk about old stories. Lena watched him through the glass, trying to decide what to do. On one hand, he was her boss. If she told him what she had found, he might be angry that she went into a locked room and took an old file. On the other hand, the tape label, "Ask TK." He kept a copy. If he really had a copy of the missing final section, then he had held on to it for years, even when others wanted it gone. That meant he might not agree with the decision to erase Silent Dawn. Finally, Lena stood up and walked to his office. Her legs felt like they were made of rubber. She knocked on the door. "Come in," Dr. Taylor said. Without looking up, she opened the door and stepped inside. Dr. Taylor," she began. "Do you have a minute?" He glanced at her over his glasses. "Of course, Lena. Sit down." "What is it?" She sat, trying not to fidget. For a moment she said nothing. Then, slowly, she reached into her bag and pulled out the brown folder with XM7 written on it. "I found this in the library," she said, her voice quiet. "I think it was not supposed to be there." Dr. Taylor's face changed. The color left his cheeks, and his hands froze above his keyboard. "Where exactly did you get that?" he asked, his voice suddenly very serious. "In the old archive room," Lena said. "It was mixed in with other files. I didn't mean to break any rules. I just started reading it." He stared at the folder for a long moment. Then he closed his laptop and leaned back in his chair. "So," he said softly, "you know about Silent Dawn?" Lena nodded. "I listened to the tape in room 407 too," she added. "The mission audio. At least, part of it." He closed his eyes for a second, as if something painful had come back to him. "You shouldn't have gone there," he said. "Those rooms are not for interns." "I know," Lena replied quickly. "I'm sorry. I needed to understand. And I think you might be the only person who can tell me what really happened." Silence filled the room. Outside, people walked past the glass wall, not knowing that inside, a secret from decades ago was being touched again. Dr. Taylor looked very tired. Finally, he spoke. "When I was your age," he said, "I was part of the communications team for Silent Dawn. I sat in mission control when that tape was recorded." Lena's eyes widened. "You were there?" He nodded. "I was TK back then." "That note you saw," asked TK, "that was written by a friend of mine, another engineer. He knew I didn't agree with the order to destroy the records." "So you did keep a copy?" Lena asked, her heart pounding. "Yes," he said quietly. "I did." He opened the bottom drawer of his desk and took out a small metal box. He placed it on the table and opened it. Inside was a tiny USB drive, old but still usable. "This has the final section of the recording," he said. "I transferred it from tape years ago, before the original was cut. I always told myself I would destroy it one day, but I never could." "What?" Lena asked. "Because what happened up there matters," he said softly, "and because those 3 astronauts deserve not to be erased." He plugged the USB into his computer and turned the screen so Lena could see. He opened an audio file labeled silent_dawn_final_section.wavr. "You sure you want to hear this?" he asked. Lena nodded. He pressed play static at first. Then the now familiar voices of Silent Dawn. "Above us now," Dr. Karim was saying, right where the tape had cut off before. "Control. The object is moving directly over our orbital plane. It's brightening, Mission Control answered, but their voice was broken by heavy interference. Silent dawn. Losing you. Repeat, maintain. The strange clicking sound returned, louder than before. It was not random now. It came in clear patterns, like a language. Then came something new, a deep, pulsing tone, rising and falling. It made the hair on Lena's arms stand up. Control, we are experiencing vibrations, Hayes said. Not from the ship. It's like the very space around us is shaking. Lights flickered in the background. Someone cursed quietly. The object is changing again, Dr. Karim said. It's not like anything I've seen. It's not metal. It's not rock. It's almost like she stopped. Then, very softly, she whispered, "It knows we're watching." Silence. Only the clicking, like a strange heartbeat in the dark. "We're getting something in the data feed," Daniel Cole said. "New signals riding on their carrier wave. It's targeting our instruments. It's writing into them, like it's trying to talk to the computers." More static? Then Mission Control came through clearly for a moment. Silent dawn. "If you believe the object is hostile, you are ordered to change orbit and break contact. Do you copy?" Hayes did not answer right away. When he did, his voice was calm, but there was a tightness in it. "Control. With respect, we don't know if it's hostile, but we do know this. It is intelligent, and it is the first proof we have ever had that we are not alone." Lena felt chills run down her back. "Look at what we're seeing," Dr. Karim said. "The patterns in the signal, it's like they know math. They're sending prime numbers, physical constants. This is communication. Thomas, this is first contact." At the name Thomas, Lena glanced at Dr. Taylor. His jaw was clenched. He was remembering, she realized. He had been on the other side of that line. The recording continued. Silent dawn. "Your safety is our priority," Mission Control said. "You are ordered to disengage and prepare for We have other concerns as well." "What concerns?" Hayes asked. There was a pause. A quiet cough. "Geopolitical concerns," someone finally said. "If this is truly another intelligence, whoever understands it first will gain a very large advantage. There are discussions at higher levels. They want to manage the information, keep it controlled. For now, this mission is being moved to a black status. Do you understand? You want to hide this?" Dr. Karim said in a flat voice. "It's not that simple, Sophia," came the answer. "This is bigger than us." On the recording, the deep pulsing tone grew louder, and the static built like a storm. "Control, the object is closing in again," Daniel Cole shouted. "Distance less than 50 meters? We're getting power spikes. The signal is, it's pushing itself into our systems." Suddenly, everything became chaotic. Alarms blared in the background. The beeping of instruments filled the audio. "Guidance offline. Life support reading error. Reboot the array through the noise." The strange clicking voice continued, now mixed with the numbers 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Clear prime numbers, spoken in a synthetic tone. Then, suddenly, all the alarms cut off. Silence. For several seconds there was no sound at all. It felt like the whole world was holding its breath. Then, Hayes spoke again. But his voice was different, slow, distant. "Control. The object has stopped. It is matching our speed exactly. It is watching us, or studying us. Are you all right, Silent dawn?" Mission Control asked. "Your biometrics just went off the chart for a moment." "We're fine," Hayes said. "I think it did something to the ship, or to us. I'm not sure." Dr. Karim spoke next. "Thomas, can you see this data?" she asked. "It's sending us a full matrix of information. Equations, star positions, something like a map. This is," she laughed softly, a sound halfway between joy and fear. "This is the greatest discovery in human history." Another voice cut in from Mission Control, stern and cold. "Silent dawn. This is Director Haro. You are to stop recording all instrument data related to the object. Do not transmit any further scientific observations. This is now a classified encounter. The full debrief will happen after you return. Until then, you are under direct order to remain silent on this subject. Do you understand?" Lena frowned. "Director Haro," she repeated. The name was in the file. She remembered, on the order to seal the mission. On the recording, there was a long silence. Then Hayes answered. "With respect, Director," he said. "No." The word was simple, but it hit like a stone. "We cannot pretend this didn't happen," Hayes continued. "We're recording everything. If we don't send it now, we may never get the chance again. If you want to erase this, you'll have to static drown out the rest." When it cleared, the sound was full of noise and echoes. The deep pulsing tone rose to a painful level. The clicking sound sped up, flying past like fast words in an unknown tongue. "Silent dawn, we are losing your telemetry," Mission Control shouted. "You are tumbling. You must stabilize or you won't survive Then something strange happened. The pulsing tone stopped. All the strange sounds vanished. The audio went almost completely quiet. Then Daniel Cole spoke, in a voice full of wonder. "It stopped us," he said. "Our spin is gone. We're steady. It corrected our path. We didn't do that. It did." Dr. Karim was breathless. "Thomas, did you see the numbers?" she said. "It calculated our exact mass, velocity, orbit, and then adjusted with perfect accuracy. This thing, it's not just curious, it's far beyond us. Mission control sounded shaken. Silent Dawn, we show you back in a stable orbit. Someone said slowly, "Can you confirm?" "We confirm," Hayes said, "and we're making a full backup of all data related to the encounter. We're sending one copy to you, and one to a separate channel. If anything happens to the